he goes, why are you so excited? And I said, it because the world is changing and no one really knows it. I mean, I literally have people in my LinkedIn who are saying MCP is pure hype. And welcome to the Industry 4 Community Podcast.
Industry 4.
Sponsored by, who's our sponsor this month?
This podcast is sponsored by HighByte. Drive business transformation with industrial data ops. Go to highbyte.com to learn more. And thank you to HighByte for partnering with us on the MCP and Unified Namespace workshop, July 29th and 30th this month. You don't want to miss it. Links to sign up for that in the description. Now back to the podcast.
Hosted by your host with the most, Walker D. Reynolds. All right, so we made the decision to do this podcast. Trust me, we dropped this on the community, but I promise you, of all the podcasts we do, this is the one that is going to be the most valuable to people. And it's kind of funny. We won't have 100 people watching this because it's like it's the week after 4th of July. So many people took this week off. A lot of people didn't take last week off. And they're going to be kind of pissed that they're watching this recording because they're going to want to be interacting. But trust me, I will blow your minds in this podcast. Everybody wants to know like where the fuck I've been. And I mean, believe me, Zach has seen it. The team saw everything this morning. I've been working on things for the last few days. Zach has seen it.
And I said this before we went live.
Yes.
I said, I haven't seen you this excited about something in a long time. And probably since MQTT or when you originally discovered it in 2015.
Correct. I will say this. MCP is to the 5th industrial revolution what MQTT was to the 4th. Okay. Yes, you heard me. So the combination of large language models plus MCP. Mark Friedman's here. Mark, we're going to be reaching out to you after this podcast. So hopefully when you watch this podcast, Mark, you get excited too. And we take what you're doing and we kind of combine with what we're doing and we all do it together. I got a thing for you. Trust me, bro. All right. So I'm going to show you. There's going to be about 15 minutes or so. So for those of you who are watching the recording, if you want to skip to the demo, I don't recommend that you just skip right to it, but you're probably, you might want to skip to it and then come back and watch this part. But this part here is very important. I got to lay the groundwork here. So kind of where have I been the last 3 weeks? All right. So I've been doing, so my granddaughter was born, my middle son, Jared. He had his first child, July 5th. She is a beautiful, beautiful baby girl, healthy, wonderful, amazing. Okay. A couple months ago, I gave a speech in Prague. When I started looking at model context protocol I saw the release from Anthropic. They did some things on their blog maybe a year ago. So it's like 12 months ago. This is before they ever released it. I started looking at model context protocol and I kind of was thinking what the potential was. It went mainstream. Model context protocol went mainstream in January. And you'll notice we're doing the MCP workshop this month, okay, in a couple of weeks. In a couple of weeks. July 29 and 30, we've asked Aaron Semley from HighByte to come in. It's a 2-day workshop. I cannot believe the number of people who have signed up. So think about it. We have 400 members of Mastermind who are all going to be do this workshop because they get it automatically as part of their Mastermind membership down below. And we're well over 60 signups or something, 60 additional signups, 60 people who are paying for this workshop outside of Mastermind. Okay. And by the way,
that the workshop solves? What's the problem?
The problem that the workshop solves is everybody, I could ask you, what is MCP? And you're going to go, it's something related to AI, might be an API thing. It's kind of a big deal. Not sure. The problem that it solves is what we're doing in the workshop is we are showing how to leverage MCP with Agentic AI to solve manufacturing problems by bolting both onto an existing unified namespace. Okay. What I'm going to show you today is a new product we have coming out, which we only just decided. You want to hear about craziness? We didn't just decide. We decided in the last few days. But we made the final decision that we are actually going to release this product today. This morning, we made this decision.
I twisted your arm.
Yeah, and it blows the mind boggles the mind. I cannot tell you, gang. Since January, I've been looking at MCP and the potential of agentic AI and the wide adoption of unified namespace. And at Prove It in February, we showed you a lot of people's eyes were opened with how unified namespace as an architecture works hand in hand natively with large language models and large reasoning models. We got lucky. I mean, we didn't get lucky. It was probably good planning, but we didn't know that's what was going to happen. I knew that context.
Knew what the Holy Grail was.
Right. Context and normalization. Grail. Yeah. Seriously, and Josh is bringing this up. There's 3 things that I've built, 3 products I've built in the last 3 weeks. I am doing 2 weeks of development every 10 minutes. Zach was on a 1-hour call with me last night. I showed him the last mile of developing this product. And we did 12 weeks of development in 1 hour. I did 6 2-week sprints in 1 hour. Okay, including unit tests. Everything that I'm doing around writing the software is essentially I'm doing the work of 10 developers, or I am doing the work I would normally do in 2 weeks in 10 minutes. What I could do in 2 weeks, I'm doing in 10 minutes. And there's some mechanisms to do that in software development. Now, if you're using agents to write the bulk of your code, one of the things that I'm starting to realize where, people ask me all the time, like, kind of, where's my place in the market? Like, where do I fit as an engineer? Yes, as a solution architect, I'm elite, but that's because I have full stack digital fluency. But what is my contribution right now in this space? Let me say something unequivocally, gang. The 5th industrial revolution has started. Okay. And it started with ChatGPT. It isn't even a fucking debate. It's not even a debate. And someone comes on and says it's not the 5th industrial revolution, you're an idiot. And I'm not trying to disparage you. I'm telling you, you're an idiot. An idiot is an ignorant person. You are ignorant to the reality. I'm not trying to say you're a bad person. I'm saying you're an idiot. We are so clearly in the 5th industrial revolution where the rising edge, the technological breakthrough was large language model. Okay. Large language models turned into large reasoning models. Okay. Large reasoning models make agentic AI possible. Model context protocol makes it possible to plug agentic AI into infrastructure. And I'm going to show you today, I'm going to blow your fucking minds. I'm telling you right now, I'm going to blow your minds. I've blown my team's minds. I have shown them. I've built 3 products in the last 3 weeks. Well, I've been working the new product that we have is called UNS Studio. Okay. And we're getting ready to go into beta on Monday. All right. So by the way, this wasn't meant to be an announcement for it. When I sent the text message this morning, we need to do a podcast this morning. We need to do a podcast today. You want to know why I was doing the podcast? To answer the question, Vaughn said, Walker, you need to do a video that answers the question, what is MCP? What is the landscape of MCP? What are the pitfalls and risks? Why do you have to know MCP? And you need to shoot a video on that. And the reason why is because that's a question that must be answered. That video that he sent to me, he sent it to me in a meeting, and we wrote it on a whiteboard. I took a photo, and I was going to film it last night. And I'm like, no, I need to take this product. Exactly. See you later, MQTT Explorer. You ain't kidding. Okay. And not, by the way, you could take MQTT Explorer because
it's going to be the obvious replacement.
It's an obvious replacement. But UNS Studio isn't MQTT Explorer only. There is one component inside the studio that takes the place of MQTT Explorer, and it's one of 20 components. They're all together. Okay. But I'm going to show you, my goal today is I'm going to answer these questions. All these people have been asked, why are you guys doing an MCP workshop? And the answer is because we don't have a choice. I'm going to answer the question. I'm going to go to one of the pitfalls and risks. Well, let's talk about what is model context protocol first. Let's lay it down. Okay. Model context protocol is a standardized API for large language model and large reasoning model agents. It's basically, how do you bolt an agent, agentic AI, into some type of infrastructure so that it can learn what data is available to it and go get it and then do advanced reasoning to make decisions, be in charge of an objective. Okay, that's what Model Context Protocol is. The best way to describe it in layman's terms is Model Context Protocol is an API for agentic AI. That's what it is. And I'm here to tell you, I'm going to say this perfectly clearly, okay? Model Context Protocol is to the fifth industrial revolution, it coupled with large language models, is to the fifth industrial revolution as MQTT is to the fourth. To answer Mariano's question, right now, this is what we're discussing. Do we want to do open source with like features on top? Or do we want to do, no question, it's going to be open architecture. By the way, that's one of the problems we're solving. I'm going to talk about the risks here in a second of MCP. It is obvious, if we look at the landscape of Model Context Protocol, okay, if we look at the landscape, people are going in one of two directions, okay? The reason we got to do the MCP workshop is so that all of you will push the OEMs to make sure that their MCP servers stay open. Because right now, Microsoft is looking at Model Context Protocol the way, yes, 2-hour trial, that's completely resettable. So you'll get the full studio with no license, and it's the same thing. If you need the studio to run for longer than 2 hours, you're going to need some type of license. The reason why is because we're spending, for me to build this, just the horsepower, the GPU horsepower we need is costing me about $1,000 a week. It's costing $4,000 a month to just, you know what I mean? And I could pay for that. It's not that I'm having fun doing it. You know what I mean? It's just the team really thinks that this is a thing we need to take to market. And so we're going to do it.
Oh, yeah, I told you we have to. I said, if we don't do this, I will leave.
Yeah, I mean, and so that's where we are. But right now, Microsoft is looking at Model Context Protocol. The road that they're going right now, the path they're going down, is that Model Context Protocol will be an internal tool they use to wire together all of Microsoft's solutions so that you use Copilot to inform yourself about, make decisions and drive objectives. That's the way Microsoft is going. Yeah, I built it because the product doesn't exist. And part of what I said to the team today, they were like, Walker, you tell us why you're on board. Like, they're a little bit surprised I'm on board for it. And I said, well, I like win-win-win situations. So as a strategic thinker, I like win-win-win situations. So right now there's 2 wins if we do this. We take this to market, okay? Well, first off, it's 4.0 solutions. The product will not be, it's going to be a separate product under a completely different entity, and there'll be many owners. Everybody on the team will be an owner of this company that owns this piece of software. This is not a Walker software. Right. It's the whole team will be owners of it. Right. That's number one. Number two, there is no competing product yet, but hopefully there will be, because you want to know what my second. You want to know what my first win was? This is going to help the community. No matter what, this is going to be a tool that you can plug into a unified namespace, and you can create value immediately. Okay? Create value immediately. Also, you're going to learn MCP in the process. So the idea with this product was, how do we teach everybody? We need the community to learn the potential of Model Context Protocol and Agentic AI very, very, very fast, so that they can drive the other OEMs in the correct direction, which is open. So Google, by default, because they're an open company, and believe it or not, they may collect all your data, but their mindset is open. Okay. I'll go through that, Vijaya, where the MCP server lives and everything here in a second. It's servers. Okay. Google is by choice going the open route because philosophically they believe by being open, they're going to be connected to more potential customers, okay, and more data, which they're in a data company. Microsoft is going towards the route of closed, where MCP is going to be an internal tool, Todd Edmonds. Can you invest? Believe me, you will love this. Okay, you're going to love this. But you want to know who's really going to love this? People who work in plants. If you work in a plant, you're going to go, I can see exactly what I can do with this right now. I promise you I'm going to blow your minds. Okay, now I can't use a plant. I'm going to kind of use a plant. I'm using virtual factory, but I'm going to start with a non-manufacturing use case that you can apply. It's a use case, an energy management use case that you can apply to manufacturing. Okay, and then I'll show how we do this with
and we want it to be very easy to adopt with a 2-hour trial, but then also something that's affordable to where like you don't even need to go ask your manager for approval. Like an engineer would just pay for it himself because it saves him that much time.
Yeah, these numbers are going to be tiny,
Pro or Plus.
Trust me. The cost of this, what we're asking, is going to be, you'll be shocked at how low the cost is. Okay, so our goal is the goal is we want to redefine the market. I think we can do it. And win number one is we've developed a product that's valuable and it's going to teach the market at the same time they're realizing value for themselves and for their organizations. That's number one. Win number two is, you know what? We do a good job. We introduce this concept. We introduce these tools to the market, and somebody else comes in and does it better. That would also be a win. It would be a win for the community. Okay. I think I can't think of what my third win is yet. And so that was part of the reason I was hesitant. Part of the reason
the third win is we use it as a teaching tool for our students, right? Okay, you said at the beginning, if we're teaching MCP, you need to know MCP better than anyone on the face of the planet. You said I'm like, why are you this excited about this? I haven't seen you this focused on, like, you're like, there's a sinking feeling in my gut
because I said there's a
fall behind.
I said he goes, why are you so excited? And I said it because I'm being pushed by the pit in my stomach, because the world is changing and no one really knows it. I mean, I literally have people in my LinkedIn who are saying MCP is pure hype. And I'm about to tell you, I showed my team. Okay. Here are 3 products I've built. Okay. Here I've spent $30,000 in my own cost. Okay. It's cost $30,000. Okay. I've spent definitely more on the UNS Studio, but the first thing I did was I built a business integration product internally. We're going to rebuild all of our own business systems internally. Okay. And I showed the team how I can use model context protocol and agentic AI to replace every single one of them. And when I showed them, it took 3 days of cycle. When I showed them, I said, look, I literally have an agent doing everything Vaughn does except for the human part of relationships. I have an agent doing everything Stephanie does. I have an agent doing everything Corbin does. I have an agent doing everything Leo does. I have an agent doing everything Rachel does. I have an agent doing everything that Zach does. I have an agent doing everything that Josh does. Some organizations, you're right, Mark. I said, now I know why Friedman's lost his mind. I said, now I know why Mark locked himself into a room, and why now I know why Mark locked himself in a room around here.
Well, Mark, I want to fly you out to Dallas so we can go in a war room. We can go in a tank and just build shit.
Yes. I cannot stress enough. The name is perfect. UNS Studio. You're going to love it, Mario.
I came up with the name.
Yeah, Walker Zach came up with the name. All right, so
we were thinking UNS. We were thinking something UNS demo, but it's not more than a demo. It started as a demo.
So let me start here. Actually, it's a product that's been around for 18 months. We use internally, and it was called UNS Demo. Okay, and it was basically where I would launch the application in a simple GUI. I could configure MQTT brokers, and I had simulators configured, and I could select a series of simulators. I could select the brokers I want them to publish to. I would hit start, and then I had a UNS viewer that I could monitor the namespaces, and it was a tool internally we used to do demos. That tool is MCP made it possible for us to turn that tool into an analytics platform, into an MCP server, into an MCP client. into a broker manager, into a UNS viewer.
An agent orchestrator.
An agent orchestrator.
I have a question
now.
I have a question.
Yeah, go ahead, Zach.
Back to the MCP thing, right? Like,
which was I was trying to.
My question is, why doesn't it's not if you're just listening to this and you've played with AI agent or you played with LLMs, it may not be clear to someone why MCP is really necessary. Why an LLM doesn't just create a script that hits an API to interface and do the same thing. Because what is the MCP unlock?
Here's why. Because a large language model and a large reasoning model, they basically do the same thing. They predict the next word. Okay, they take the word that is the most likely, 99.9% likely to be this next word, and that's what they do. They're going through a series of decision trees and stuff, and doing pattern matching to come up what is the most likely next word when they're giving you a response. Okay. When they are reasoning, they're doing the same thing. They're just predicting the next word quickly. Okay. Model context protocol is a protocol that is built to inform an agent the things it needs to know when it needs to know it. This product that we've built here, UNS Studio, what is the problem it solves? Well, it solves a training problem. It solves a simulation problem. It solves a time to value problem. It solves a functional problem. But you want to know what the big thing is this tool is the gateway to, and tools like it are the gateway to getting people the information they need, the data and information they need, when they need it, in the form they need it. That's the demo I'm going to show you. Okay.
All right. With the power monitor. Yeah.
With the power monitor. So first off, let me fire this up because I want the data. I'll show you guys here in a second, but I'm going to go ahead and get connected. And
Mario said the name is perfect. Yes. I love that. UNS Studio.
He does love it. I'm not surprised. All right. Let me do.
I was thinking of it was like, I want a cursor for UNS. That's what I want.
So here's the foundation right here. Okay. So you could probably clip this part of the video, Zach, if you want to. Number one, we are in the fifth industrial revolution. The fifth industrial revolution started with ChatGPT in November of 2022. Okay. That is the rising edge. Okay. The fifth industrial revolution is the convergence of human and artificial intelligence. Human beings and artificial intelligence, all artificial intelligence is computers mimicking human intelligence. It is not about AI replacing people. It is not about people competing with AI. It is about AI and human beings working together symbiotically. They are resources for one another. That is what I'm going to demonstrate today. Okay. To that end, Model Context Protocol is a game changer. It is the bolt. It is the glue that pieces all the agents together. That's what it is. It is to the fifth industrial revolution what MQTT was to the fourth. Okay, it is. This is not. I have proved this mathematically in the last 3 weeks. I'm telling you.
Got it. Oh, so it's not that you couldn't digitally transform a plant using Industry 3. It would just take an army of engineers, and you would never be able to maintain it. So It's not that you couldn't use an LLM to hit APIs, but it would just require an army of resources to actually compute.
Correct. Okay. So what is MCP? What is MCP? It is the backbone of Industry 5. Trust me, MCP coupled with LLMs is the backbone to Industry 5. Okay. Number two, it is an API for AI agents that is going to help us realize the convergence of human and artificial intelligence. That's what it is. That's where we are. My premise, my argument, what I've been saying in speeches for the last couple of months is you must know MCP. You must know MCP. You must know MCP. If you do not know MCP, you will not be working in this industry. That is not my fucking opinion. Okay. It was my opinion 2 months ago. It is not my opinion now. I have proven it. It's mathematical. And even my own team.
None of us argued with you. None of us said, no, you can't replace me.
Correct. Every single one of them said, holy shit. Holy shit. Okay.
And now I wish I were working for a mission-driven company.
Correct. Because what I said is business leaders are going to do one of two things with this power. Some are going to go, I don't need you anymore. I'm going to go ahead and save. What does the team cost? $500,000 a year, $500,000, $600,000 a year. I'm going to go ahead and save $600,000 a year. No. There are other leaders who go, now the potential is I've got 600,000. I've got 600,000 to spend on something else. Because either I get 600,000 by cutting salaries and saving what Agentic AI will give me, or I say, no, Agentic AI takes away all the shit these guys do all day long, and there's lots of stuff we need to do. So now we got to come up with new things for them to do in addition to being symbiotic with AI. So the stuff that Vaughn does for 4 hours every day, he can wake up to, completed, having an agent running in the background doing that work for him. When I wake up in the morning now, I have received an email with my plan for the day that an agent put together for me. And I showed the team that report that I've been using for the last 2 weeks. Okay? I showed the team, and all of them were blown away. Blown away that the agent was able to be that accurate. That the agent was able to say, here are the 5 things you must do today, and in this order.
Action items from meetings you weren't even in.
Action items that means I wasn't even at. Okay? And they all saw that this morning. They've seen the business intelligence. I've been sharing those reports with them and getting their feedback. The agents are doing the analysis, okay, and getting their feedback. And you want to know what I've been doing? I've literally been taking their critiques, feeding it back to the agent, and the agent has been fixing the reports based on their feedback. And we've gone from spending tens of hours, scores of hours on things to these things processing in 30 seconds. Okay? What I'm going to show you today is going to take 5 minutes for something that would take weeks to do. Literally weeks of manpower. Okay? So that is, what is MCP, API for agents? What's the landscape? We're in the very beginning. If you go look at all the MCP servers that are out there, we're going to see an explosion of MCP servers in the next quarter, and it'll increase by a factor of 5 or 6 in a quarter after that. So we may see 100 new MCP servers from like Zoho. You name a software platform. They are all writing MCP servers right now because they know if they don't have an MCP server, if they cannot bolt their software API to an agent, they're fucked. No one's going to be buying their software. Okay. Here's the thing. You don't necessarily need them to do it. You don't need them to build the MCP server. You want to know what the crazy thing about MCP is? It's just like UNS. It grows. You can add a tool. I'm going to explain all this stuff to you here in a minute. You can add a tool on the fly. I can come up with a function I need the agent to be able to get. So say I've got a Stripe API. Stripe is connected to, Stripe is a payment platform. Stripe has an MCP server that's got maybe 25 tools in it, basically 25 API calls in it that the agent can use. I've built 50 of my own. I've built 50 tools in the MCP server that Stripe doesn't even support in theirs. And I did all of those tools in one day. And they all came from there was already an extensive API with Stripe. There was already an extensive API that you could do over REST.
You extended the Stripe MCP server?
I have 2 Stripe MCP servers. I got the one Stripe wrote, which sucks, and I got the one I wrote, which is amazing. It's theirs plus 50.
And then you wrote an MCP server for the UNS Studio, which right now only has read functionality, but you can add write.
Yeah, you're going to be able to add brokers and all that stuff. Everybody is writing MCP servers right now. If you believe you don't have to know MCP and you're going to do this job, you're a fool. You are a fool.
This is the tool that you could do weeks of integration work in seconds.
All right, pitfalls and landscapes. Pitfalls and risks. I'm going to talk about one real quick, and then we're going to do the demo. Here is one of the biggest risks right now. It's that the OEMs who are writing their MCP servers are going more closed than they are open. Friedman's must have already thought of this. Wait a minute. There's a lot of people. If the market doesn't know what the potential is for MCP, then they're not going to complain when somebody makes their MCP server too limited. Like, for example, Google has Gemini. Google really, really, really wants you to use Gemini. Okay, they really want you to use Gemini. They do, just like they wanted you to use Chrome. Okay. However, so Google could have said, you know what? Our MCP server is only going to be for us. If you want to use an agent with Gmail and Calendar and Google Cloud Console and BigQuery and Looker Studio, you've got to use Gemini. They're not doing that. They were literally the first. Well, here's the MCP security vulnerabilities. You want to hear something amazing? Most MCP servers are spun up only for the call, and then they go down. In fact, most people don't know this. The MCP client, I'm the agent, and I want to connect to Stripe. The way that protocol is written is I send a command to spin up the container. I already have an image. I have an image that's got I have an environment variable, which is my key to say Stripe's API platform, my encrypted key. That is encapsulated in my image, okay? And then I give the image to the agent, Claude. I give the image to the agent, or I give where the image is stored on the Docker host to the agent. I ask the agent a question about go to Stripe and find X, Y, or Z. What it does is it gives a command to Docker to spin the container up, do the call, send the information back, and then it nukes the container. It's not even there anymore. The connection is only up for the request. You want to talk about maximum security? That the only time the connection is there is when you're talking? And that's controlled by the client itself? This was it fucking blew my mind that they put that into the spec.
But you like that capability.
I love that. Now, granted, all the MCP servers I'm currently running, I have them up and running. I have them stood up.
How you would think of a server normally.
But that's not the way MCP is designed to be used. It's designed for you to have an image sitting in a Docker environment or in Swarm or in Kubernetes. You connect the agent, you give the agent all the instructions it needs to hit that environment, spin up the container, have it go hit the API, interact, come back, and then it nukes the container. There's no vulnerability. It's not there anymore. It's ethereal. Literally, the server is spun up with the connection, and then when the connection is not needed, the server's gone. It's really crazy. But it also supports persisted servers. So I can spin a server up in a container and leave it there. All right. The big risk, though, is that some people are going to go open, like Google's going open. So if you go to Claude, you can add Gmail and Calendar and all that stuff right now in additional integrations. Or you could go close like Microsoft's going. Now, Microsoft will be forced to change their mind. They're going to have to. MCP would be the next level after learning to build agents, or which would be the roadmap? MCP. Right now. That's why we're doing MCP workshop this month. Okay. All right, here we go. Let's do this demo. This is UNS Studio. Okay. This is about ready for beta. So what we've got is our broker configuration. Okay. We have our simulators. So these are all the simulators. So some of you guys should have already seen this as a product. We have our Unified Namespace viewer. We have our MCP server, which we have running. It is running in the product. And we have our MCP client. So the ability to connect to a series of MCP servers, and I don't have anything.
And you added the server and client since we talked yesterday.
Correct. I added, the server was running. I just added the GUI for it today. But let's go ahead and take a look at, let's go ahead. And so we are connected to a broker here in the home lab. Okay. So we're looking at our UNS viewer right now. So in the home lab, what we have is our power monitoring tool. All right. So this power monitoring tool is monitoring the power in the building in our lab. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at total power usage, right? So right now, this is the total power usage since we spun up. All right. So this graph here is showing total power. So this is line 1. So this is L1 right here that we're looking at. So this is line 1 on a 200 amp service. This is line 2 on a 200 amp service. You have HVAC in the front of the building, and you have HVAC in the back of the building. So that's in the back. That's obviously where the AC was running. This is in the front. So this is the building is split in two. You have power in the master bathroom, power in the master bedroom. You have Hayden and Josh's rooms next to each other, and then you have total power. Okay. So what we're going to do is I have an MCP server running. All right. I have an MCP server running. So what we're going to do is we're going to spin up Claude. Claude is connected to the MCP server that is running here. So this MCP server that is running, okay, here are the available tools that we have available. So Claude is our agent. It doesn't have to be Claude. I'm using Claude. You could use Gemini. You could use ChatGPT, whatever. But I'm gonna walk through a workflow on how this is going to work in manufacturing. Imagine what we're looking at is power management across, in a manufacturing facility, and what we're tracking is the power in a unified namespace across the entire building in real time. Okay, so we can get our broker configurations. So that's one of the tools that's in the MCP server. You can get the active broker. You can get active topics, active topic payload, topic history, topics by pattern, topic hierarchy, running simulators, simulator details, broker status, the GUI status, and any available simulators, right? We've got which clients are connected, and then we have our request response. So as Claude is interacting, we'll be able to see what the MCP server is seeing and what it responds with, all right? So what we're going to do is we're going to do a natural language example here, all right? So I'm just going to start with, tell me what MCP servers we're connected to, okay? And Claude, so what Claude should be doing is saying we are connected to the UNS Simulator Manager, the Stripe MCP server, Google Drive, Google Calendar, Gmail, Web Search and Fetch, the analysis tool, and artifacts. Okay. So I want to use our UNS Studio. So I'm going to ask it. I'm not going to tell it I want it to use that MCP server, but I am going to say, I want you to tell me which broker the UNS Studio is connected to. We have our broker configuration. We have our simulators. In fact, I'm going to run this this test numeric simulator. See this right here? That simulator was created by the LLM. Okay. I literally told the agent, create me a simulator that simulates all data types and then changes every second. Okay. So I have a float here, and look, it wrote the algorithms to populate that data. And you're going to be able to say to the agent, I want you to create me a simulator that does X, Y, or Z.
Ryan, yes. That's one of the features I'm really high on that I'm wanting to implement. But as of right now, no, but that's where we want to take it. Yes.
All right. So we've been running about 5 minutes. All right. So let's go ahead and let's go to which broker are we connected to? Let's just ask that question again. Okay. So our agent is connected to our internal MCP server running on our home lab. It's connected to this server here. Okay. So we'll go back to our UNS viewer. All right. So what I want to do is I'm going to say to the agent, all right, we're connected to that lab. Why don't you list the history of our power consumption on line 1 in the lab? So it's going to go to the lab. It's going to go to line 1, and it's going to list the history using the pattern. It's going to grab the last 100 data points. Okay. And it's listing the most recent was these values here.
Oh, I identified the high usage pattern period.
So the higher usage period. So from 150 to 154, we were around 3,400 to 3,800 watts. Our peak reading was 3805.94 at 1353. That's right up here. Okay. Lowest reading was 2308 at 1349, right there. The data shows power consumptions varied significantly over the past 5 to 6 minutes, ranging from about 2,300 watts to 3,800 watts with a recent drop to the current 2,420. This could indicate different electrical loads being switched on and off in your system. All right. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, oh, that's interesting. And by the way, let me say something here real quick. What I am doing here, this is something we're going to do in the model in the MCP workshop, is we're going to show you the difference between using a large language model as someone doing tasks. I'm asking the LLM to do tasks right now, the agent to do tasks, and asking an agent to be in charge of an objective. All right. I'm showing you the first piece. All right. So now we're going to ask this agent, well, what about the total power in the home lab? All right. So now what it's doing is it's looking in our MCP server, it's looking at the available tools, and it is saying, okay, all right, how am I going to get the total power consumption in the data lab? Okay.
Get topics by pattern, get topic history.
So what it's doing right now is it's doing advanced reasoning to get to the data it needs. Okay. And this is the data it needs. All right. So total power in the lab. And by the way, this isn't the mind-blowing part. I mean, some of you might have your minds blown already. This is not the mind-blowing part. This is the building blocks of what's about to happen. Okay. So it does the same thing, recent power consumption, high power, moderate usage. And it basically says total power shows significant variation. Okay. This represents a reduction of approximately 2,500 to 22.7 kilowatts from peak usage. Okay. Indicating major electrical loads were turned off or reduced in the home lab system. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say, here's what I want you to do. I want you to put, I'm not giving it a really clear instruction. I am saying put it in a line graph over time. Okay. Just create a graph for me. Okay. So now it's going back to the MCP server. We go look at our logs. We'll have a bunch of response logs in here from the requests. It's grabbing the data. You should now see why it is we need a beta. And what it's done now is it's built the data I need when I need it in the form I need it. Okay. So it's given us peak usage, current usage, and low point.
That's now, mind you, nice looking screen too.
Not only that, I can publish this and make it available to my team if I want to. I could publish this, copy the link, and give it to you guys if I want to.
Got it.
Okay, I can publish this. I can ask
that's the Anthropic feature.
Correct. But I can publish this and make it available to anybody.
Right.
All right. But last but not least, okay, and this should be the sort of the moment of truth. I'm going to ask it, what are the biggest opportunities? Now, this is an objective. This isn't a task. This is an objective. What are our biggest opportunities for reducing power consumption by room or area in the lab? So now it's asking for to use a method it hasn't used before. So I have to give it permission.
Oh, interesting. Is it reasoning different than it did when we did the test demo before the?
Say that again.
If it didn't use that call before, but you ran that query before, did it reason differently this time, or?
So now what it's doing is it's going through all of our devices. So what it's doing is it's looking at many of the sensors that you guys haven't seen yet. So we haven't looked at any of these sensors. So these are the individual sensors that give us the context on our entire infrastructure. So these are the individual sensors. And what it should have done, and it did, was it went and looked at the individual rooms off of the Emon Hub server, and then it looked at the devices and correlated them together. And what it should do is give me a report and an analysis of how we can reduce power. And the analysis should be different because this is a different period that it's doing the analysis on.
All right. This is the mind-blowing part.
Well, yeah, because I could have asked this question from the very beginning. I could have sat down and said, what are our biggest opportunities for reducing power consumption by room or area in the lab? I could have, and now some of you, Todd Edmonds, if you're still watching, Todd Edmonds should be like, whoa. Because if Todd, as an executive, were to ask somebody on his team to put this together, okay, he knows just how long it would have taken.
Wait, you didn't show us this graph
No.
before you showed us the did you change the query, or?
I changed the prompt, yes, because I didn't want you guys to see it until I did the podcast.
You fucking guy.
So right now we are spending, right now it's predicting we're spending about $450 a month in electricity. Josh, why don't you put in the chat what the monthly electric bill is here?
Yeah, my guess was 500. You were pulling like 8 kilowatts the other day. I was like, dude, that's
so it's actually about $500 a month. Right now, based on current usage over the last 20 minutes, it's $450. We could save $778 by saving 865 watts based on these on the recommendations they've got down here. Okay, let me hide that. Ooh, it's not what I wanted to do. So the biggest opportunities, the HVAC front rooms are 58% of our total power. Focus here first. You want to know something interesting? The thermostat in the front of this building is set to 66 degrees, and the thermostat in the back is set to 73. Smart scheduling for office equipment when not in use. LED upgrades in high usage rooms adjust HVAC thermostat by 2 degrees. You'll notice the difference. The 66 in the front and 73 in the back is pretty damn close. Power down the automation board when not needed and use smart power strips for phantom loads. The automation board is that board that's back there that is drawing, there's 4 power supplies running on that, plus now
and then the thermal throttling of your different devices too.
Correct. Here's the point, guys. Here's the point. If that doesn't show you the art of the possible with model context protocol, nothing will. Like if that doesn't show you, nothing will.
Quick question. If you guys are signed up for the MCP workshop, let us know in the comments below, like what problem you're looking to solve specifically by when you signed up. And if you're not part of it yet, why? So to answer your guys, I want to point a couple of things out. So Mario, that isn't what I just showed you. There's no product out there that will allow me to do that right now. Yes, we're using Shelly power monitors. There's no product that allows me to. I had to build the product. I needed. If this is something you guys would want to be part of the beta, drop a UNS Studio, type UNS Studio in the chat. I'm gonna do one more example here in a second. I'm gonna let the data run here for a couple of more minutes. So a couple of things that we're doing is we're putting a historian in the studio. So there'll be a native historian running internally. Right now there is a native historian and it's running in SQLite. Okay. So we're gonna what we're probably gonna do is embed Timebase into UNS Studio, and I'll probably handle that. I have a beta of it right now. And then we're gonna add in connectivity as well. So, which, by the way, if you haven't heard of Timebase, it's completely free historian, free to use, and you can embed it inside of other products. That's why we're looking at having it as one of the historian options for the UNS Studio, just out of the box.
Yes. And when you guys see, the idea here is
UNS Studio.
Right. The big thing, Mario, if you think about it, what can you do with UNS Studio? The answer is I don't envision that there's going to be anything. I want to show you guys I'm going to do another demo for you here in a second on the power of agentic AI, okay? But it's not going to be manufacturing related, okay? But I'm going to go back to the studio and we're going to do another demo here, okay? So I'm gonna go back Timebase is the one from Flow Software, is what we're talking about.
Yeah. You're thinking of probably Timescale, which I think they were actually just recently renamed, but Timescale is it's a Postgres framework for time series data.
So, and by the way, if you're an executive, I just want to point something out. If I were to do what I just did at the average manufacturing facility, all I did was I started with, what are our biggest opportunities for reducing power consumption by room or area in the lab? What I did for you guys for this demo was I walked you through 6 steps. The truth is, all I had to do was give the agent the objective: reduce power consumption by room or area in the lab. I could have given it the objective. Okay? Now, in this case, the output was a report for human beings to execute the recommendations. But you want to know what Model Context Protocol gives you? The possibility to give the agent the ability to do that. Because I can
the set point on your thermostat.
Because by the time when we launch beta for this, and it'll be a live beta. I mean, this is production ready for demos and stuff. You know, it's not. I mean, it's robust.
I wanted to launch the beta today. I was ready to allow you guys to sign up for the beta. Walker shut it down. But you know, I'm a ready, fire, aim kind of guy. I'm launched before we're ready. I'm pushing him hard.
There will be twice as many tools in this MCP server.
Oh, easily over the weekend. Easily.
Okay.
You know, you said this. You're like, you could go get a job as a software engineer. You're a 10x software developer. You could go get a job at a tech company for $1 million a year, and just based on how rapidly you've been able to develop tools, features, products.
And none of this, I'm telling you right now, not the speed of this, of what I've done and what you could do, is not possible without Agentic AI.
Just show a little quick demo of your Bible app. I want to show that because I want them to see the native AI integration, because I like that part about it. But
yeah, by the way, there is a chat bot in here. I just don't. It's not turned on. Just like we're not using the MCP client either. Yeah, I have an MCP client in here that allows you to browse all of the tools. The other thing we didn't
mention, but we talked about this morning.
Yeah.
Walker's knowledge of Unified Namespace, we're going to embed in this product. So when it's interfacing with other agents, it has full context of best practices for Unified Namespace, best practices for digital transformation from the creator of Unified Namespace himself. And that's the IP that is going to be embedded into this product. So it knows how to prompt the LLMs that maybe don't know as much about the best way to do things for manufacturing.
All right, summarize the power consumption across opportunities for improvement. Calculate total daily cost of running each production line for 24 hours.
Mark, we want to have it have its own LLM, like native, and then be able to connect to other hosted LLMs, kind of like Cursor. Because when I was watching Walker develop, I was so blown. I was like, how is Cursor able to keep context of all this entire application? Like, and it's because it's doing some of the pre-processing with its own local LLM first before sending it up to Claude. If I understand that correctly.
Yeah, essentially. I mean, I'll say this: Cursor's not going to win. It's pretty impressive, but I've worked with
PyCharm. You like it better?
So I think PyCharm is much better. But it's obviously a Python development environment. But I think the integration in PyCharm is much better. But the big one is GitHub Copilot is.
Michael wants the AI agent to be named Walker within the tool. So then you can like turn on unhinged Walker mode, and so it'll like curse at you and shit. Like, you need to fucking get this line.
All right. So everybody remembers the prompt here, which is look at opportunities here. And so here's what we've gotten how much does it cost us to operate our production lines? So 97.8 kilowatts with all three lines operating. So if we go back, that's this data here. So it's gone and it's looked at under process power consumption, line 2, process power consumption, line 2, line 3, and line 1. It's looked at all three and it's done an analysis, okay, and then charted. I mean, this is an LLM doing the charting for us. Okay, this is a large language model. This is an agent doing this. This isn't a piece of software I bought. This is native React. That literally the large language model wrote this in React. Okay, how is this chart normally made? This chart right here, power consumption comparison. Let's talk about what that normally looks like. An integrator normally builds that. An integrator has to do ETL to build that. An integrator's has to configure the component to do that. I gave the agent an instruction. Okay? What did our potential savings be? $35,000 a year. By the way, this agent can run in the background. That's manufacturing. And this, to answer your question, Mario, is the real value proposition of UNS Studio right now, today. Long term, it's many things. It's one of the big things that we're going to do here is this MCP server that's running inside a studio isn't only going to serve what it isn't only going to
on the production line data. That's on the simulated manufacturing data.
Yeah, that's down here. This is in the simulator.
Okay.
That's the production line.
I was thinking it was L1. I thought it was still your house, but no, it's like, yeah, the numbers line up. Okay, that makes sense. Dude, that's fucking sweet, man. I mean, dude, a business would pay a lot of money to just have this one fucking report, dude.
I know. Well, hopefully what I have here, what's happened is, so let me go ahead and let me do one other thing. Let me
let me drop the sign up link just so anyone who wants to be a fucking early.
No.
Okay. All right.
All right. Let me this. Here we go. I want you to list the tools available in the Stripe MCP server. So Stripe is a payment platform. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want you to see this agent, this Claude agent of mine is connected to our Stripe payment platform from here.
And you could say, like, I want to create a new customer for this person and I want to create an invoice for this product and send it to them.
Correct. And actually it has read-write capabilities.
You can create a product, you can create a payment link, you can create a price, you can create a customer. This is what you're like, dude, why is our CRM not have MCP? Because I don't want to be going into our CRM to add a new activity to a record. I want to just tell the agent, hey, I had I just want the agent to listen to the conversations that I have.
I'm going to show you guys
update the CRM for me.
I'm going to show you guys. I have used Claude Code. I really like it. Here's the problem with Claude, gang. I love Claude. By the way, Claude is the best LLM out there. Anybody who works with it knows. The issue with Claude Code is the issue with all things Claude. Anthropic clearly does not have enough GPUs. This is a very important part, Dowdell. The tools will change. But what is important is the thought process. The tools will continually to rapidly improve. Don't wait. Get on board now. 100%. Here, let me say this, gang. If you want me to tell you, it's not the Claude account, Kirk. The connection to the API is on my machine. It is running in a JSON file. The configuration is in a JSON file on the host. So my Claude account doesn't have access to all that stuff. The connections are isolated to this workstation. But here's the thing. Doing this type of work, I've been doing this a long time. I'm 51. I've been writing code for 25 years. The biggest thing is Let me start with this question. Is what I showed you valuable? Like what I showed you, that workflow was demonstrating that here, was that valuable? Okay, did light bulbs come on? Did people go, okay, I get it. Oh my God, I get it now. Okay, and let me go back to my thing. Here is how the process has changed. Okay, we have to change our mindsets. So like when it comes to, let's use writing code, for example, writing code becomes, I'm not thinking 2 weeks at a time anymore. I'm thinking 12 weeks at a time for every 1 hour. So when I'm giving an instruction to an agent to do some type of development, the instruction I'm giving is a 2-week sprint instruction. And then in 90 seconds, in 2 minutes, it is doing 2 weeks of work. And then I have to go 2 weeks into the future. I've got to be able to review that code right away. This is what I do love about Cursor. Cursor makes it much easier to do the diff. I'm actually, while the agent's writing code, I'm writing code with the agent, but the agent's writing 98% of the code, and then I'm reviewing, going in, and I'll make changes to the code in line. But Zach got a chance for me to see this. He got to see me do it because I shared my screen with him.
Like, I want to see how you're doing this.
And I was literally monitoring the code it was writing in line. As it was writing, I was going, oh, okay, I see. Well, yeah, I'm going to have to tell it to change that. Literally, before it ever produced the code, I'm like, oh, yeah, he's looking at the wrong file there. And I literally, my first reply was, and so I'm able to just fly through it because I'm able to read the code as the agent's writing the code. Okay.
There's 1.5 million. Oh no, the Bible app.
Yeah, the Bible app, which I'm about to show you guys, is 1.5 billion lines of code, or 1.5 million lines of code in 6 days.
Yeah.
In 6 days. Okay. Now I'm going to show you the Bible app, not because I want to show you another part of the potential, because this has like agent integration, and it's the same agent integration that's in the UNS Studio that you haven't seen. All right. And by the way, any questions about what we showed? I mean, we're sharing this podcast to the world, so there's going to be a lot of people who watch this who should be like, "Holy fuck!"
If you want to go create your own, you should go do it. And if you want to learn more about MCP, you should sign up for the MCP workshop. I guarantee it'll be highly worth the investment. Like, Walker's done a deep dive. He's going to be in it. He's going to kick it off, and then Aaron Sam was going to join.
Yeah, I've been doing 16 hours a day for 3 weeks. I was up writing code till 11 o'clock last night, up at 5 o'clock this morning. I was supposed to go out to my ranch. We canceled it. Yeah, there's a local LLM's nice, but no way you're getting that Claude React dashboard. You want to know why? Because Claude gets that React dashboard right. Every by the way, I only did 21 tests to confirm. Can you teach your strategy for the prompting? That's definitely the magic. There's no
in the workshop.
The React dashboard's a function of the environment.
But the showing how you built it, that's the training that is for the students. Like, that's the valuable stuff. That's the shit that'll change your life. All
right, let me go ahead and show you this Bible app, okay, which will give you a good. It's not about the Bible, but one of the first things I built was this, okay, and so this is much more. This is 1.5 million lines of code for what I'm about to show you, okay. All right, this is not a religious presentation; it's a functional one. All right, so what I wanted was, you can see my screen, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what I wanted was I wanted the Bible app that I needed. I don't like most Bible apps. I think what I needed was, I want 2 translations. I want to be able to import more translations. I don't want to have to buy them. I generally read the New King James Version and then the Contemporary Standard Bible. They're both like word for word. I literally wrote this from scratch. This is 1.5 million lines of code for everything you see here. Okay. So I read the book of Proverbs every month. Okay, so there's 31 chapters in the book of Proverbs. So I read one chapter per day. Today is July 11th. So I read Proverbs chapter 11. I've already read it. I already took my notes. All right. I wanted a couple of things. Like I like to read the Bible verse by verse. So verse 1 is on a line and then verse 2 is on a line. But I do have it so that you can read it continuously. Okay. I do have it so you can read it continuously. I just don't happen to like it that way. So I did verse by verse. Okay. I have, comprehensive configuration for font sizes and colors and, all that jazz. And then AI integration. So I have the ability to use Claude, OpenAI, or Gemini for the AI integration that I'm going to show you. So you can put your own API key in here and you can interact. So I have bookmarks. So these are, I want to be able to select a verse. I want to be able to select a verse and then put a bookmark on it. And I want to be able to generate notes. And if I do generate a note, or if I want to mouse over it and I want to be able to read the note. Okay. I want to be able to save my own images. So I don't like that Bible apps don't give me the ability to save my own images. For example, again, if you're not, it's not about the Bible. It's the function here. Stay focused on the function if you're not a Christian. So like, for example, I have this image of the book of Proverbs that basically outlines the book of Proverbs. Okay. So it breaks it down into, so right now I'm reading chapter 11. So I'm within the Proverbs of Solomon, which is the first collection of Solomon. And it's the principles of wisdom and it's the counsel of wisdom. Okay. So I want to be able to save my own images. I also want to be able to link videos. So I want to be able to go, oh, I saw this really awesome video on YouTube about all Christian denominations explained in 12 minutes. So I want to be able to link that and watch that. Okay. So those are some of the functions that I want in my Bible. And so I built the app that allows me to do my reading every day, and I'm not stuck with all the stuff in a Bible app that everybody else has. But here's the AI integration. So, the translations that I read are word for word translations. So they don't take into account how we understand things in English. So the reason it says dishonest scales are an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. The reason that sounds so weird is because that is a word for word translation from the Hebrew. So one of the things that I wanted to be able to, based on the AI integration that I've done. So I'm using Gemini and I have control over the prompt I give it. J. Vernon McGee is a pastor who is a Protestant pastor who passed away. He had a famous radio show called Through the Bible. I want J. Vernon McGee to do the commentary. The commentary is like basically someone teaching you what you're reading. So I created this AI commentary where I can open this, and essentially what it's supposed to do is tell me what book it is, what chapter it is, and then who wrote it, who is the audience, what's the dispensation, what language was written in, and when was it written. So there, the AI commentary says here at the top that it's a book of Proverbs, chapter 11. Solomon wrote it. The audience is primarily young men. It's Mosaic law as a dispensation. It was written in 971 to 931 BC. It was written in Hebrew. And then it's basically a summary of the entire chapter. And then it gives me the key verses. All right. So I do my Bible reading in the morning, and then I read the commentary. And if I don't like the commentary, I want to hear it from different angles, I just switch the large language model in the settings and then rerun it. And then I've also added in this Bible chat, okay, which is I can interact. So I'm just going to say, tell me why a Christian should care about Proverbs chapter 11. And it's Gemini who's doing the work here. And then Gemini is replying and saying, well, okay, that's a good question. Okay. Proverbs offers a wealth of wisdom relevant to everyday Christian living. And as Baptists, we believe the Bible, including Proverbs, is God-inspired word and provides practical guidance. while Proverbs doesn't explicitly lay out the gospel of salvation by grace through faith, it does show how a life lived in accordance with God's wisdom looks. Think of it as a guidebook for living out the faith we received as a gift. Specifically in chapter 11, you see contrasting paths, and it explains. So, but here I wrote a note in chapter 1 or in verse 1. So I'm going to say, why did I notate verse 1? So a lot of times in Bible apps, you'll be like, you highlighted something or you took a note and then you don't even remember why you did it. You just see it's highlighted there. Well, this agent is telling me, okay, well, that's great. You're taking notes. It says that a false balance is an abomination to the Lord, but a just weight is his delight. You might have noted this verse for a number of reasons, and without knowing your specific thoughts, I can offer some potential reasons why this is significant to you. And then honesty and integrity is important. And by the way, that's exactly why I highlighted it. Okay? So the point is, here's the point. The point is, I'm not here to proselytize, okay? I love all people. All right. But
we held the audience, so
yeah. Let me say this. What I wrote that there's 1.5 million lines of code in that program. Okay, Zach saw it last night. It's 1.5 million lines of code. Okay, I write
20 commits.
Yeah, the 20 commits, and I showed him the commit history. A commit is generally when there's some big milestone. Commits on the main branch. Okay, 20 commits on the main branch in 6 days. 1.5 million lines of code in 6 days. 20 commits.
Most advanced and modern Bible in the world, a LinkedIn user said.
The reality
in less than a week.
Yeah, and
actually,
so
rebuilt it. You rebuilt it. Was in regular.
Yeah. I actually you see that GUI right there? That's not the original GUI. I build all my applications, whether they're business intelligence apps or whatever. I build all of them in a very simple GUI to begin with. So like in Ignition, for example, if I'm working with Ignition, I build everything in Vision first. Why? Because it's the GUI you can develop the fastest. Then when it's hardened, I take a Vision window and I have it rebuilt using Perspective. Either I do it or let me say this, a year from now, this is an absolute certainty. A year from now, gang, you are going to be developing inside of Ignition and Factory Studio and WinCCOA using agents. I mean, I guarantee right now, Inductive Automation is working on a comprehensive MCP server that they're going to have an internal agent interact with. And I hope what Inductive Automation does, I hope they take a clip of this. I hope we put this as a short or whatever. One of the things I hope Colby and Carl do when they build their MCP server, which they are going to, is I hope that what they do is they expose that MCP server and all of the methods to external agents. So I can take Claude and I can integrate Claude with Ignition. I can use Claude. The reason why is because Claude can then become the wiring to get me to other MCP servers. The reason I built UNS Studio, the reason we have UNS Studio is to do that exact same thing. With the ability to build dashboards using React, why use Ignition and TatSoft? I didn't say I would build dashboards in Ignition or TatSoft, but I'm not going to use React for any control. So I would use React for information, but I am going to use, like, everybody's like, well, why do I need Ignition or TatSoft? Well, what you need is all the safety measures that are put into that software for confirming that a message that was sent got to its destination, especially if the thing you're clicking moves things on a plant floor. That's why.
Ship it, get the bag. I'm telling you.
But think about it. But listen, just a year from now, gang, all of you who are working in Ignition right now, all of you who are working in Factory Studio, all of you who are working in any platform, you are going to be working with an agent and giving it objectives, and you're going to be supervising its work, or that platform's not going to exist anymore. It just isn't, because think about it. In the last 3 weeks, I wrote in the last 6 days, I haven't even told you how many lines of code are in the UNS Studio. 6 million lines of code. 6 million lines of code. Okay, you want to know how many lines of code this is where I am as a software developer. I can write 700 lines of rock solid code per day. On a high end, I can do 1,000. I worked with a software developer, okay, and I'm not going to mention his name. He would do 2,500 lines a day in his fucking sleep. In his sleep. But do you know how many days it takes when you write 1,000 lines of code to write 1,000,000? 3 years. 3 years. That's why you have to have teams of developers. So the writing of the code isn't our job anymore. The orchestration of the writing of the code, the orchestration of the creation of the visualization is what our job is. The orchestration of the connections is what our job is. Create this broker connection. Subscribe to these topics. Okay, now take these topics.
Sipping Mai Tais on the beach is what our job is. You could be literally working anywhere. You could just be talking to it, like voice, you know?
All right, so let's take this home. So first and foremost, I gotta talk about one other risk with MCP. Fluency across the market is so slow right now. People can be fooled. That's my fear. My biggest fear is manufacturers are gonna get fooled by what a salesperson puts in front of them and promises them something they can't deliver because the manufacturer doesn't have the digital infrastructure for it. So you still have to do connect, collect, store. You still got to do that. Notice everything we did with Studio, okay? Everything we did with Studio, UNS Studio, is we bolted into existing infrastructure. By the way, that's real infrastructure. That home lab infrastructure, that's 4 years old. I didn't even show you the querying of the database. I mean, this is a podcast. I showed you a fraction of the capabilities of UNS Studio. My goal was to show you the art of the possible on objectives, having it build the report for me on power consumption and telling me what to do. That was my goal. My goal wasn't to show you UNS Studio. It was to show you the art of the possible. The whole reason we even mentioned UNS Studio is because the team really pushed this morning. This is something you should go to market with.
Dude, you're a fucking software developer, man. Like you're a software architect. Really, what'd you say? Bad software is bad architecture.
Michael Dowdell, spot on, dude. There are already a lot of charlatans with respect to AI and MCP. It's like Industry 4, but on steroids. You know, I'll say this, and we'll take it home. We'll take this home here because we've gone long. Hopefully it was valuable, though. Hopefully this was a valuable session for you guys. Valuable podcast. You must know MCP. Do you have to build MCP servers? No, you don't have to. You know, think of it. We're in our industry, we're all a pyramid. You know what I mean? And the top of the pyramid is going to be building MCP servers. The top third. Oh, by the way, somebody who asked me how many lines of code did I write of the 1.5 million? I was probably involved. That is, I had a character in 10,000 lines, but I reviewed every single product. The third product is something I can't show you without showing. I have to create simulated. I wanted you to know there were 3 products we built, and one of them, the
business system.
Yeah, one is a business intelligence one. Trust me, basically what the product does is it connects to existing APIs. You ask the agent instructions. I need you to do X, Y, and Z. Build me these 2 reports, and by the way, the reports that it builds it goes and does all of our YouTube analytics. I'll tell you, it hits the YouTube API, the Zoho API, the Stripe API. It hits the 3 of those. And it does the complete analysis of our business. Okay. Actually, I'll do the UBI thing right now. We'll close with that. But total lines of code, and it builds 2 reports that it emails to the team. Because right now we're still in the beta. We're going to remove the emailing of the team. The team is giving me all the feedback on what the instruction should be, what the agent should do with the reports it generates, what actions it should take. So ultimately what we want it to do is we want the agent to tell us what to do that day. Basically, Zach wakes up and he's got 5 instructions from the agent. Vaughn wakes up, he's got 5 instructions. Stephanie wakes up, she's got 5 instructions. Josh wakes up, okay? Yes, basically the OEM is going to, every OEM better be building MCP servers. If you guys are watching, if you are building software, you better have an MCP server that exposes your software to agentic AI. Or you're not in business. I mean, just full stop. And by the way, everybody's doing it. Everybody's doing it. And companies are hiring me all over the world to come in and tell them how to do it. You know, hey, because there's a lot of different ways to do it. You know what I mean? Connect, collect, store is the hard part, Josh. And it's the part everyone's got to do. And I can't stress that enough. But let me go back to Kirk and UBI. Listen, guys, I've been saying for a couple of years, okay, what is the actual implication of AI? 50% of the people who work today will be employable. Like if your IQ is 98 or less, you're not going to be employable directly in the workforce. That doesn't mean that there aren't going to be laborers. There are. You're going to be, but the white collar workforce has people across a very, very broad spectrum of IQs. The people who work in software development, engineering, finance, all those things, they're going to be 98 IQ and above. Okay? And everyone 98 and below is going to be, they're not going to be unemployable, basically. Universal basic income is the way that we are going to make sure that all of humanity benefits from AI. Is a natural evolution of our advancement as human beings. All human beings have to benefit from that technology.
Because we helped train it. Everyone helped train it.
Yeah. Oh, every person helped train it. OpenAI doesn't own AI. Okay. I mean, they'll try to. Universal basic income is, listen, I am a conservative. I am a Republican. I am a capitalist through and through, and the writing is on the wall. If you don't believe UBI is an absolute certainty, you are a fool. It's like, it's basic math. So what do I believe of UBI? UBI is going to happen.
Because otherwise it'll create social
unrest. In the United States, I want the conservative party to be the one that proposes it. I don't want it to come from the left. I want it to come from the right. Because it'll be practical. It'll be practical.
Thoughts on the America Party?
The America Party hurts the Republicans more than it hurts the Democrats. Therefore, I'm not for it.
Got it.
I believe in. I don't like talking about politics, but
right, you guys it's the third vote. We need ranked choice voting.
Yeah. For me, I believe all voices are important. Progressive, conservative. I don't think. I hate the fact that everyone thinks that the person who doesn't think like them is their enemy. I don't like that. I think it's stupid. We all love our families. We all love our grandmother. We all need food and shelter, and we just have, some of us have different values, and we come from different perspectives, and we should respect all the perspectives until someone shows you they're not operating in good faith. You shouldn't think they're your enemy. You know what I mean? But the world I want to live in is a world that is slightly conservative. I want the person who tilts slightly to the right to be making the decision. So people on the extremes, they can fight it out. Fuck them. I want the one who's slightly. I want John McCain to be the one casting the deciding vote. I want Lisa Murkowski casting the deciding vote. Susan Collins. I want that one Supreme Court justice who, Anthony Kennedy, who would always go back and forth. I want Anthony Kennedy. You want to know why? Because I want the moderate that leans slightly conservative. That's my personal preference.
Yeah.
Okay. But do I believe UBI is an absolute certainty, and all of humanity needs to benefit from artificial intelligence. Okay. All right. With that, the only thing I would ask you guys to do is, I'm really going back and forth on how we should handle. I think the UNS Studio is really, really valuable. Believe me, it's going to be incredibly inexpensive. You're going to be shocked. Okay. It's really more to like cover our costs for. You hear my dog? The
Spike's going crazy.
Yeah, Spike is going nuts. Going it's really to cover our costs for the AI, which is ridiculously expensive. Part of the reason we're doing this video is because I have the money to pay for all the AI for the compute. I am spending a fortune on compute. I am spending a fortune. And I mean, I guarantee Mark Friedman's spending $1,000 a month as much coding as he's doing, especially if he's using the max limits on the tokens, because I'm spending a fortune. So it ain't cheap. And so what we're doing is taking the amount of money I'm spending doing this, and I'm using it for education, because not everybody can go do this themselves because of the cost. All right, with that,
the first industry 5.0 product.
So we will, by the way, the Bible app is going to be available for Mac, Windows, and Android and iOS. So for those of you who might want it, it will be available. You will be able to download it. And it'll be, and it's going to be donation only. It's just my little pet project. So I'll have it on GitHub, and then I'll put it on the 2 stores. And UNS Studio, you guys will have the announcement for the beta on Monday. And I have to shoot a couple of videos on all the features. You guys saw I turned off nearly all the menus. So, yeah, I only put the key menus on there, but there's 8 of them on the left-hand side. So, all right, with that, like, subscribe, comment down below. We'll see you guys in the next one.